Alright guys, there we are, back again with the first LoL battles, and it has been absolute crazy what we've seen so far. And I'm just wondering, GameplayDNA, Horizon Reapers, that's the next game coming up. So the two winners of the first games facing off each other. And I have a question for the chat and for you, Nero. Because, let me quickly sum it up and then I'll get to my question. So, GameplayDNA, they were a little bit behind as Team No Names had a great start. But in the end, they turned it all around and managed to secure, it was a good looking victory. On the other hand, we had Horizon Reapers going up against Wonderstag. They had a close game all the time, fighting it, then had an advantage, lost the advantage again, had a big advantage, lost a big advantage again, but still in the end able to get it. And at no point of the game, like, they were always at least even or ahead. They were never behind. So, which of the two teams is your favorite to make it out of the winners match and directly advancing to the grand final of this GSL format?
Oh yeah, I knew that the question is going to be something along these lines, but just sorting through, sort of looking and checking out the players on Team Horizon Reapers, because that was the only team that we didn't really have the initial info on the rankings and like preferences and stuff. And first of all, I can see that the top laner, Marine, has got an amazing win rate on Jax. So we should be expecting more of that Jax, definitely.
I definitely believe that. Games.
And the thing is, as I mentioned, like, Wonderstags might be from a little bit lower rankings. Like, I think that their team averaged at around Diamond 3, Diamond 4, because they had a lot of Diamond 3 players, they had a Diamond 4 and a Platinum 2 player. So yeah, I would just round it up around Diamond 4. And for Horizon Reapers, it is around Diamond 1 to Master. Nobody really from any lower levels of that solo ranking. So basically, in theory, I thought that it's gonna be a match between Wonderstag's like team play and the being together and the organization behind them, or Horizon Reapers' individual skill. And I don't think that it was actually exposed so much. In my opinion, Horizon Reapers, since they turned out to be the victors, it should have been a little bit more cleaner to them, judging by the skill level that is between these two teams. So I'm not really too sure. Normally I would say that I'm expecting both Wonderstags and Horizon Reapers to be the dominant teams in this group after seeing both the matches. But I'm not too sure about Horizon Reapers going up against GameplayDNA. I'm quite sure that Wonderstag, if they play very similar to a game that they just played, they should have the upper hand against No Names. But here in the winners match, no idea.
I think it's definitely going to be Horizon Reapers. So if I should take a look into the future of this GSL format, I'd say that we will now see the Horizon Reapers go straight to the finals, and I even expect Team No Names to beat Wonderstag, and they will face GameplayDNA again. But I guess then that GameplayDNA will win that. So this might be the final, GameplayDNA going up against the Horizon Reapers. That's the final that I would expect. So maybe we can take a first glance at what we are to see.
Okay, so you're expecting that. I think I can partly agree with you, but I'm thinking that if Team No Names manage to beat Wonderstag, they'll also be able to beat GameplayDNA. I'd say that way.
Yeah, but I feel like GameplayDNA in the first game that these two teams matched, I felt like GameplayDNA, they were a bit surprised by Team No Names. And I feel like in the second match, that momentum will not be on Team No Name's side. As GameplayDNA, they now know what they have to expect, and I feel like they can settle it a bit for themselves and they can play a more stable gameplay. So I think that GameplayDNA is gonna win that decider match, if it's going to be GameplayDNA against the Team No Names. I think it's gonna be a clear victory for GameplayDNA, or not a clear victory, but clearer than before.
Okay, might be. We'll see after all. Everything can happen right here, obviously. And
Yeah, Nero, we're casters. We're always throwing around any predictions. They don't have to be correct. That's just what we do.
yeah, and unfortunately, I'm no analyst right here. At least not like an in-depth one. But yeah, that's true. Like anything can happen in here. Although we might have our predictions, judging by what we've seen and so on and so on. But it also comes down to like picks and this team's readability. So that, for instance, one team bringing out something that surprises, for instance, that Jax maybe, and maybe the in the next matches the other teams will be way more prepared for that. It's not going to be so random or something along these lines. Because yeah, as I said, I checked the profiles of these players, and you could figure that by just looking at the win rate. If this Jax is a solid pick, and guess what? For Marine, also a Jarvan, it seems like a very, very good one since he's got 89% win rate on this champion. So probably if he's not going to get a Jax, he's going to want to go for the Jarvan. But that's a possibility to try and play around that. So GameplayDNA can actually already try to look through
Yeah,
this.
and just remember the first ban that we saw out of Wonderstack Esports actually was the Jace ban. So it now all makes sense focusing that so much, but they left the Jax open and they got punished by that. I just don't want to wait anymore until GameplayDNA faces off the Horizon Reapers, because I really feel like this is gonna be, our final match today. And we will get a little bit of a preview now.
Might be. And yeah, that's also a thing that many times when we had the qualifiers for the Legends series in League of Legends, we had the team going all the way through the upper brackets, facing off against the team that they faced off against in the winners match.
All right. So right now we're getting some information from the production that somewhere over Europe is a crazy thunderstorm going on, and that's Nero looking out of the window.
Pretty much
Not here.
Day, yeah.
Really?
No,
it looks
I'm
pretty
actually
bright
saying
where you are.
Because there's like a storm comes for 30 minutes and it goes away, and it comes and goes away, and stuff like that. My water supply was cut off 2 days ago. Then yesterday I didn't have electricity. So yeah, Europe's pretty crazy right now in terms of the weather.
Yeah, so 2 players are missing because of connection problems that might be coming up due to, crazy weather happening in Germany. Talking about climate change, it's all fake news, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, it's been quite wild lately, but yeah, that's the thing. Hopefully everybody's going to be able to get back on tracks in time, because yeah, that's a little bit of an unlucky thing. I mean, you cannot really do anything with the weather yourself, right? And it doesn't depend on any of the teams. It's not like they do it on purpose and stuff like that. So if we're able to replace the matches, it's cool. But also if a team would like not be able to show up for half an hour, I'm wondering what we'd do, because it kind of feels a little bit unfair if they get a forfeit for that. But then also on the other hand, what else do you?
Also thinking about the possibilities, I don't know what you could do about that, but as you pointed out, we are not God, we are not making the weather, so unfortunately nothing really to do for us about this.
Yeah, but best of luck to the players to actually get that game. Didn't quite catch, or we weren't told from which team it actually happened, but if it's in Hungary, if it's for Horizon Reapers, then there's a chance that from Wonderstack there also might be some players experiencing issues.
You know what would actually be cool if one of the Horizon Reapers players and one of the Wonderstack Esports players, if they were like neighbors to each other. I'd love that. Like living in Budapest, both of them, and then that would be a cool story.
Oh, might definitely be. But yeah, hopefully it's not going to be the bad turn of that story that both of them are not going to be able to access anything. But it would be funny for sure. I mean, I don't think it's happened to me yet. I mean, I had some tournaments where a team was playing from a LAN that they've been on that weekend, and the internet connection was cut right there. But that's something completely different, right? So these are like the LAN problems instead of the weather. I've never had a tournament interrupted by the or not. I've actually had that tournament interrupted by weather. It was an outdoor LAN, and there was a huge
Oh,
storm
really?
going on outside. So yeah, so since all the PCs were outdoors, they all got soaked and stuff like that. So that was a little bit unlucky. And then we had to catch up because we had 3 days to play out all the matches. Then we had to catch up over the 2 because one day was cancelled completely. So that was crazy. But yeah, it's gonna be first time online for me. Okay, so yeah, I actually was taking a look at the clock, and since that match of Wonderstag versus Horizon Reapers got extended for a crazy amount of time due to all the steals and turnarounds and stuff like that, I thought that we were actually on schedule. Everything's gonna go smoothly, but then that match was extremely long. Now we're gonna have to wait a little bit because of technical issues. I guess you can still call it technical, right? Issues on one of the team's players. So that's going to set us back a tiny bit. But yeah, as I mentioned, I also was expecting a best of 3 grand final somehow, but we're going to have a BO1 in here. So at least we're probably not going to finish after midnight, I guess. In the meantime, Marvin leaves the studios. Hopefully it's not nothing wrong out there. Maybe his food arrived or something. Anyway, yeah, GameplayDNA versus Horizon Reapers, or Team No Names versus Wonderstag. So Marvin already threw up his prediction, not production, but he thinks that GameplayDNA will face off against Horizon Reapers again in the finals. Not necessarily so sure about that. I mean, as I said, like GameplayDNA, they were pushed back, they were pressured by No Names very much in the first match of the day, and I feel like if Team No Names are able to beat Wonderstag, then they should also be able to beat GameplayDNA if they just collect their mind, if they don't go for random picks like with that Cat Arena, that they admitted themselves that it was a little bit random, right? Because they didn't really think about it so much. They only talked for 60 seconds before the picks and bans together, so that was completely on the spot. So if they actually can correct these mistakes and can communicate a little bit better, and I believe that because their captain told me that they replaced their AD carry that was supposed to play like 10 minutes before the match started. So there can definitely be some communication issues. And if they are able to correct it for the match against Wonderstag, they're not going to also have a problem against GameplayDNA. At least that's my opinion. But then there comes the question if they'll be able to beat Wonderstag. And then if Horizon Reapers decisively take the match against GameplayDNA, then I don't think that the gameplay stands a chance against Wonderstag. So yeah, a lot depends on what's going to happen in this losers match. While the winners match might not actually tell us so much of the story for this entire LoL Weekly Battles. And just as a reminder, we're going to get 500 euros, excuse me, for the grand victor in here, and the second place gets 5,000 RP. So that's also a thing worth mentioning. If you lose in the losers match or in the decider match, which are going to be the 2 following ones, not the one that we're going to see right now, then you get nothing. You get completely nothing, and that has to be a letdown after all, right? So the 3rd and the 4th place don't matter at all in here in the weekly battles. In the Legend series, we have some minor prizes for 3rd and 4th place, but since this is supposed to be the weekly battle, or I'm not too sure if the idea is to make a weekly, but probably like more often than the Legend series that happen like every month or every 1.5 month. But yeah, that the prizes of course are going to be differently spread, and they're going to be a little bit smaller. But that's how it goes. And as Marvin mentioned earlier, it's just a nice opportunity to get the exposure for the smaller teams. It's a nice chance for them to achieve something, and also for the guys from the chat like you to take part in our tournaments, just have a little bit of fun. The qualifiers are open to everybody, if I'm not mistaken, so you can easily join that and try to go through. On some qualifiers, we had quite a bit of teams. While on the others, we only had like 6 teams taking part. So even in the first rounds, people were getting a bye. So in my opinion, it's definitely worth giving a shot. Because you might actually get on a less popular day for a qualifier, and then you might face off against very little or maybe weaker teams. So yeah, that's surely a thing to point out right here.
All right, Nero, sorry to interrupt you. Yeah, I'm back and I have complicated news.
Okay.
So, we just tried, because in Lithuania right now, shit is going real. Like, it's all going down. We've been checking the news. Probably Lithuania is not gonna exist tomorrow. And now I hear the production. Okay, so we have something to show you guys, I hear, from the production.
Or did he mean the match, maybe?
So I don't know. I don't know what's going on. So maybe we got the connection from GameplayDNA, but let me quickly wrap it up what we were discussing right now. So, GameplayDNA, 2 of those players did not have connection due to the bad weather we were talking about. And we wanted to switch the winners and the losers match in the schedule. So we would have played teams No Names versus Wonderstag right now. But that's not possible, as 2 players of Wonderstag took a break and are off to eat something or something like that, and they will be back in about an hour. And so we were thinking about what to do, as we don't have a choice when the players are not there. But yeah, it might be that GameplayDNA are now finally here and we could get started. If they don't manage to get a decent connection, we will probably proceed like that. GameplayDNA, unfortunately, they would be moved to the Deciders match, and the Horizon Reapers would be moved to the Grand Finals. And then we would take a 20-minute break for Wonderstag to get ready, and then we'd play Team No Names versus Wonderstag, because we have to get the show going, as you guys out there, you don't want to wait too long.
Yeah,
so, yeah. Alright, so
Okay.
just here from the production, if GameplayDNA, if they have 3 more minutes to have their players in the lobby, so 3 more minutes for GameplayDNA, so pray for Lithuania that they will get stable internet up there. And if not, I guess that what I just said will apply. So GameplayDNA will unfortunately have to forfeit this winners match. Horizon Reapers will move to the finals.
Yeah, and
then, yeah.
Overall, if GameplayDNA are to win here, then I don't think that it's going to be such a huge problem for them. It's lucky that they got through to the winners match, because right now, if they have to take like the 1.5 hour of a break to get the internet stabilized, hopefully that's something like here in Warsaw, that it's only a storm that's going to be happening for like brewing for like 30 minutes and then it's going to go, because as I mentioned, that's been happening here in my city for the entire day. So it shouldn't be a big problem. They will be back for the Deciders match, but if it lasts a little bit longer, it will be a big shame if they cannot even turn up for the Deciders match. But yeah, as I said, if they are to win the entire thing, it doesn't necessarily change so much for them, because they are going to take a break right here. Playing best of ones is not so exhausting, so it would only be 2 in a row right there. And the biggest shame for me would be that we won't actually get that skill matchup between Horizon Reapers and GameplayDNA, because that will also partly tell us the story of the upcoming match. If Horizon Reapers, I mentioned that when you were gone, if Horizon Reapers completely crushed GameplayDNA, then we'll know that Wonderstag is going to beat No Names and GameplayDNA is not going to have a chance against Wonderstag too. Exactly. But if it's a little bit closer of a game, then everything's still up in the air in this group.
Yeah. That's totally right. But I still think that all the teams are pretty evened out here in our LoL Battle Finals. And even though if GameplayDNA, if they are to forfeit their match, it's not that bad, because in the GSL format, the two best teams will almost guaranteed face off in the finals, even though if you drop a game somewhere on the road. So if GameplayDNA, if they drop this game here and fall down to the decider match, that doesn't mean that the tournament is over for them. Yeah, that's fortunate for them. But I am just asking myself, how much time is still left for GameplayDNA to get ready?
I'm quite sure that we'll get the info when it's already decided what's happening. But another thing that I didn't quite say is, I mean, if GameplayDNA can win the deciders match, then they're gonna have a very straight finals. Maybe they're not gonna have feedback on how they've done against Horizon Reapers if they faced off against them right now and stuff like that. But basically, when you get to the grand finals from the upper brackets, you don't have the benefit of losing one map. That's the thing. You don't get like a one map advantage in a best of three or anything like that. In grand finals, it's still about winning the best of one. If you lose, you're out. You're getting second place. So I mean, for GameplayDNA, it's not such a big loss. They're just taking advantage of that benefit of being able to lose one map without big consequences.
Yeah, exactly. But also about the information part that you were just lightly touching. If the Horizon Reapers and GameplayDNA, if they don't play it out, like, you're always talking about the information, that it's good to have information of your opponent, but we saw in the game of Team No Names versus GameplayDNA that the surprise factor and a little bit of something that the other team didn't reckon with, that can have a great effect, as we've seen Team No Names grab the first few minutes for themselves, grab an early lead, and something like that might also happen in the grand finals here between GameplayDNA and the Horizon Reapers, because I always love to see two teams freshly clashing each other, because there's no, like, there are no alterations in terms of how to tackle the other opponent.
Yeah, that's also a good point that you're touching right there. And there's just two ways to take it. I mean, GameplayDNA, if they don't get the info on Horizon Reapers that they would get by playing this match, there's a possibility they will also lose in the grand finals. Well, normally, after having played out the match against Horizon Reapers, they might have been able to learn from that, and then for their coach or analyst, or if they have whoever like that, then they would be able to learn and just get the match in the finals and grab the victory role.
Okay, so we just got an update that there's only one more player missing for GameplayDNA. So at least one of them managed to get back into the lobby. But if that one player doesn't manage to arrive in a minute, then GameplayDNA unfortunately has to take the forfeit here.
Yeah, but they do still have a tiny bit of time out there, and hopefully that one player can get it all straight for himself. But since the other guy came back, there's also a chance that they pretty much live in the same location and they had the same problem, so it should be fixed. Yeah, that's true. So yeah, he's back around the same time the other guy. So as I mentioned.
Yeah, so we're just waiting for the teams to get ready, to get themselves prepared, and then we will jump into the picks and bans. Hopefully with a stable connection, because even if all members are in the lobby now, that doesn't mean that this connection holds until the end of the game.
Yeah, that's exactly the thing. They can get DTs, they can get some lags, we might be experiencing some pauses, but hopefully nothing too serious. But yeah, that's good for them, and it's quite good to hear that these kind of mistakes, they get solved very quickly, as it's not even been so much time. I mean, they've been gone for like 15 minutes, 20 minutes maybe. and they're luckily able to get back before the match starts, or
Yeah,
before
so the
time
game
runs
is
out.
going
rather.
to start in a couple of minutes, as all difficulties are sorted out now. Hopefully.
Yeah, right now we know that we are gonna get all the info on what we wanted to get. We know that there might be the little vengeance story behind what happens in the grand finals, and yeah, luckily it's not just gonna be so random and stuff. Like it's rarely happened in the ELC tournaments, but we already had once a situation where we had to DQ a team or a team's not shown up.
Yeah, because of
Uh,
cheating though.
yeah, that was one team in Counter Strike, and one team in League of Legends was a little bit late, so they had to forfeit their first match, but then they were able to come back in the next
Yeah.
one. So, yeah, basically no major issues. So I'm glad that it's gonna stay that way.
Yeah, and also big shoutouts to the teams, as it wasn't quite clear if this tournament is gonna take place on Wednesday or on Thursday, but in the end everybody arrived here on Thursday, and all the teams are giving it their best and playing in the LoL battles. So also shout out to the teams. Thank you guys very much. And that's not good, because I just saw a production guy running straight through the office, and seeing people running is never a good sign.
Well, might be that it's just they just want to get everything straight just in time. I'm not too sure if it's actually going to be a bad thing, but yeah, just taking a look at the accounts of some of the players still. Very good win ratio on Elite, and also on Lee Sin for Hans and Benji, who played Rek'Sai just now. So yeah, it's not only going to be about the Rek'Sai that he's been able to execute quite well. He was able to steal the Barons right there. He can also go for a Lee Sin. He can also go for Elise. That's going to be very proficient at like maybe getting the vision and jumping in to some places, but yeah, not so good at running away. But that's already banned out by GameplayDNA, so we're not seeing that. And also the Jax ban. Now, do they take into account that there's also a possibility of a Jarvan popping up, of a Kled popping up? And I feel like against the Jarvan, it's not so non-standard of a matchup, because nowadays Jarvan's being picked over and over again. But maybe that Kled is more of a comfort champion rather than something that everybody plays, right? But there's a Kled ban, so GameplayDNA probably exposing themselves to the Jarvan, or maybe something completely else that I might not know from Marine.
Yeah, but it's interesting to see that GameplayDNA, they now go for the Jax ban. Yeah, that was expectable. But they're not going for the Jace ban. I don't really know why they should do that, because if you can find out that information in about 5 minutes, GameplayDNA, they should definitely have that information about the Horizon Reapers. And yeah, something went wrong with the picks and bans, so we have to do the picks and bans a second time, as a player dropped the lobby.
Yeah, but I think that the bans should remain the same, unless they they just took the last glance or whatever at what's happening out there, and they will be changing everything. But yeah, indeed, as you say, the Jace could also be a big danger. There's also the Jarvan that I mentioned. So overall, it could be quite tough on like focusing down the top lane for GameplayDNA, and it's not the only problem that they're gonna face on the other side. I mean, Syndra, that's been a major issue in the previous match for Wonderstag, and then what do you do about that?
Yeah, nothing. Against Syndra, you have to ban her if you want to do something against her, and it was a solid performance out of Horizon Reaper's mid laner there. But I felt like that was not the major part that won them the game. In the end, it was the double kill from Syndra that secured the game, yes, but I felt like there were other people playing a bigger role. at least in the game versus Wonderstack. But that can always shift, as we've seen some teams already in League of Legends really turning it around, like Euronics Gaming in the Legend series. They had an awful first match, especially their jungler had a bad match, and then it came back and won them the whole group, so they made it all the way through the lower bracket and even won the grand final, and he had a great performance in there.
Yeah, but still, you have to keep in mind a lot of the missed opportunities right there. He had some huge scattered the week on 2 people. So if anybody was there to follow it up, these double stuns, that would be massive. And also, there's a possibility to see some different champions from the jungler, who's been a major issue, and so on and so on. So overall, just focusing down one lane, not sure if it's going to help GameplayDNA so much, because the other people, I believe, can shine just as much on Horizon Reapers. But instead of a Tryndamere, we're going to get a Rek'Sai pick after all this time, so seems much more reasonable. But overall, I feel like maybe GameplayDNA are just relying a bit on the previous matchup. Like the Jax ban and the Rek'Sai pick right off the bat, for me it seems like it's targeted at the jungle and top lane of Horizon Reapers, but might not be. Might be just that they like Rek'Sai so much that they will know how to use it. But then there's also Lee Sin, and that's what Horizon Reapers are going to go for. I'm definitely happy with being able to see a Lee Sin finally today, and also after seeing the stats on that player on Lee Sin, it's in my opinion definitely not going to be a bad one. And Varus and Zyra, on the other hand, though, from GameplayDNA, at this exact moment, I like this duo for the bot lane the most, so I'm definitely going to have my fingers crossed for them.
Yeah, finally seeing a Zyra, I was already wondering. We saw 2 games now with Braum and Thresh on the bot lane. Thresh still coming up, so getting popular again, at least in this kind of elo, as the hooks are missing in the Legend series. We have seen in about 30 games, we have seen 1 game with a Thresh, and yeah, so good to see it coming around here, and also a Fizz ban coming in from the Horizon Reapers. Syndra being banned, as you were mentioning, that this is definitely going to be a problem here. But there's the Jace pick.
Yeah, aiming at after the initial bans, aiming at the top lane so much, you mentioned that the Jace was left out. And then in the second rotation, they decided to ban out all the mid laners. And yeah, with the Jace still remaining open, I think it would be a little bit too much for them. There's also still an Orianna up for grabs. There could be a Galio in the middle lane just as well for Horizon Reapers. I don't think they're running out of picks, and I feel like maybe remaining consistent about that top lane might have been a better idea.
Yeah, but Aurelia. There's an Aurelia coming up for GameplayDNA.
Yes, we'll see. It could be. I mean, overall, over the years of League of Legends, I've come to the conclusion that Aurelia is pretty similar to a Jax, like in the situations you like to have these champions on. A lot of players were like either just Jax one-trick ponies or Aurelia one-trick ponies, where they could crush the games with this champion. But there also was like a problem of inconsistency. Like when you got shot down by an Aurelia, you wouldn't be able to do anything at all. And Jax just started disappearing because everybody could just just abuse him, and that was enough to shut down the entire game sometimes even. So wondering if it's going to work against the top laner who's done so well in the previous matchup. So Marine, if he's not going to have to cover the back of his AD carry so much, and he can go wild in this matchup, I feel like it could be even worse.
Yeah, that's what we're about to see. How much of a top laner can Marine still be on another champion, but I expect him to be an absolute crusher again. Also with that Orianna in the mid lane. I really like Horizon Reaper's team composition here. On the other hand, I like LeBlanc in the mid lane. I like Zyra and Varus working it out together. But I feel like Horizon Reapers, they have a slight advantage in terms of composition. But that remains to be seen, as we're still not ready to jump into the game. I hope that there are no more technical difficulties for the players in terms of bad weather happening, lightning storms crushing down. And I just hear from the production that everything is fine, no more earthquakes, no more post-apocalyptic scenarios happening. So get yourselves ready for GameplayDNA versus Horizon Reapers. Nero, do you have any thoughts about the compositions? Because I favor Horizon Reapers. Would you disagree?
There's a lot of factors in GameplayDNA. I would agree with you on Horizon Reapers, but then I can also say that in GameplayDNA there are a lot of chances, hit or miss kind of situations where it could either work out perfectly and crush Horizon Reapers if it does, or it's just gonna go downhill for them, because Aurelia can snowball. LeBlanc, if she gets some early kills, she's gonna be just as bad as the Syndra was in the previous game. Varus, it's all gonna be about hitting or missing the chains of corruption, because there are some players that are completely horrible at the Varus ultimate and even at the highest level. So you've got 3 champions that can either work or be completely useless, and in my opinion they need 2 of them to work in order to actually, try to grab this victory.
Yep, probably. I'm also curious to see how Horizon Reapers are gonna play the Lee Sin, as it was Benji showing us a great performance on that Rek'Sai. So that's actually a great position for Benji to be in, because he obviously knows how to play Rek'Sai, and that means he also knows how to play against Rek'Sai. And playing a Lee Sin, a champion that can also do a lot in the early game, that suits Benji so much. I'm just curious about this team. I'm really starting to like the composition more and more the longer I look at it. On the other hand, LeBlanc can just always just go rampage.
Yeah, there is a big chance that Benji will actually read through the jungling timers of Rek'Sai completely, and will want to counter jungler her, because that's something that Lee Sin is also very strong at. But if he does go for it, then he has to be really careful, because we saw the counter junglers losing the game for their own teams in some of the qualifier matches a couple of weeks back. So yeah, you always have to keep that in your mind. If he wants to be the aggressive one, if he wants to counter jungler, he better not lose the game for the team. And overall, yeah, as you say, like Benji, I don't think we have to doubt in his Lee Sin after seeing the previous game. I feel like he's going to be perfectly fine with it. Just the question is, what kind of decisions is he going to make? Is he going to want to shut down the enemy jungler, or is he going to want to like shut down other laners? Because that also is the thing. You might want to shut down the LeBlanc in the middle lane, or the Aurelia in the top lane, or you might just want to get your Jace going rather than shutting down the enemy top laner or something. You can just want your top laner to snowball, no matter at what costs. It doesn't have to be in the top lane. They can just go for the ganks in the bottom lane or stuff like that. After all, you can do so much with the teleport, and there can be big mayhem all over the place. And I saw the lane swap at some point in the previous matchup also. So yeah, there's a possibility like that if they want to dominate someone.
Yeah, definitely. So time should be up. We should be ready to jump into the game. But somehow we're still here stuck in the picks and bans.
Yeah, I'm quite sure we'll be there in no time. But as we mentioned, also might be some technical difficulties still on the sides of the players. So we might be experiencing some pauses in the game when we actually get there.
Yeah, but there we go. 30 seconds until minions. We're in the game. GameplayDNA from Lithuania. going up against the Horizon Reapers from Hungary. Thank you guys in the chat and everybody watching for waiting such a long time. Unfortunately, we couldn't do it any better. We can't deal with the weather if there are connection problems. There are connection problems. We are not God. But there we go. Finally, the game is underway. And let's hope it's gonna be a great one that is worth waiting for. Yeah, for now, absolutely no early aggression happening here. In terms of items, also nothing special. Some cookies on LeBlanc, so she will have some more time in the mid lane. And both junglers going for their buffs on the bot side. But I don't expect them to gank before reaching level 3. Skinzor back into the game, had a nice performance on that Syndra, was playing very solid. Not sticking out too heavily. And on the top lane we have Marine. For me, once again, if I had to call an MVP in the last game, it would have been Marine on the Jax. But there we go, already a nice hook getting started, and there's the first blood! That was quicker than expected. Q-Gloof going straight for the hook here on the Zyra, and Pulses falling. He just was out of position, and that hurts. On the top lane also, scrambling going on. And the invade is happening as Lee Sin is making his way into Rek'Sai's jungle. But Rek'Sai now being pushed to the mid lane. Something might be happening here, but Skinzor is aware of his surroundings. Dom is now jumping in, poking a little bit, and there's Divider coming with the help of Irelia. And Benji is in a lot of trouble and not even getting away here. Burned his flash and won't even get to safety. So a great kill here for Irelia. That was very well done and a little bit too cheap here, I feel, because Lee Sin, if you're going for that counter jungle, be careful, and he just wasn't. So Joe, maybe out for another kill. Zyra has to be careful not to get hooked again, because Q-Glove has shown more than once that his hooks are on point. Great job so far. So the game, the tempo, slowing down just a little bit as we had quite a crazy start. We're not even 5 minutes into the game and already 2 kills happened. Something that does not always happen. Also the Horizon Reapers, that's what we learned from the last game. They can play the passive play style, but now Skinzor are able to do nothing here. Handsome Benji was there. They wanted to jump in, but in the end, LeBlanc just too cheeky, getting away. Thomas here, doing a nice job. On the bot lane, both teams are retreating for now. And Thomas on low HP, but Divider coming in, and the flash is burned for Skinzor. Handsome Benji now trying to get something off that action, but not quite able to get anything done. And Skinzor with that low HP probably has to retreat right away. In terms of farm on the bot lane, the Reapers are finally getting ahead. 10 creeps already for Caitlyn in these early stages. That's actually pretty much. On the other hand, Rek'Sai is getting the jungle farm better, whereas Lee Sin put more focus onto his ganks. That's what Lee Sin is prone for. Hugloof, you see by his movement, always looking for that entry for the hook. And Shomak alone, with the Irelia now able to deal some damage, not quite as the flash comes in, but at least the flash burn by just staring at your opponent. Looking like the big bad wolf. Now Joe and Hugloof making their way to the opponent's turret. Already lost a couple of HP. Thomas now in the mid lane, trying to hold off that minion wave. Getting his farm done. And now Orianna making her way into the opponent's jungle. At least taking this one ward. Not too much happening. A dragon will fall into the hands of the Horizon Reapers, and there's a great hook coming down on Varys, and he's taking a lot of damage, but the heal is not even quite enough as Joe grabs the kill, and the Reapers have an early lead going for themselves. 1.6k in favor here, 2 kills. Also, the creeps won't get better on the bot lane with no AD carry here present for GameplayDNA. Show, Macalone and Marine still battling it out evenly on the top lane. Nothing happened there so far. Irelia is ahead. About 14 creeps on the top lane. And the big question just is, how is Horizon Reapers just gonna proceed from that? Because they have a slight early advantage, and then you have to make something happen off of that. Now Marine seems to be in too much trouble here as Shomak alone just gets the kill for himself, and that's exactly what should not happen. If you have a slight advantage, you have to play careful on that, and you can carry that advantage and snowball all throughout the game. But just like this, if you just give up a kill here and give up a kill there, you're just gonna waste that advantage over time. So not the best play here by Marine, going in a bit too aggressively. Pulls us, and Nofer now. Nofer with a great performance in his first game today. So far it's not right clipping for him, but let's see. That's still a matter that can be changed. So 20 creeps lead the outer turret, about to be falling. And Divider making his way to the bot lane. So Joe and his support have to be careful. Rek'Sai ganks can be quick and can be deadly. Divider for now not seeing that entry for himself. Returning to his base. And look at Hugloof waiting cheekily. For a nice hook, but not getting it. And there's Marine in trouble again. Irelia, that was something that Dominic was talking about. If that Irelia starts to get going against Jace here, it's gonna be a hard time. And there's Domus coming in, maybe trying to secure the kill, and they're gonna get it! Taking Marine out! Still a little gold lead going for the Horizon Reapers. Hugloof in a big trouble! But had some Banshees here, and is this gonna be a double kill? Yeah, probably. As Skinzor's also coming in, but Irelia with the teleport to the bot lane. But that turret is history. So once again, Zyra falling to a hook here, pulls us Not quite getting his positioning done against the hooks by Q-Gloof, but Q-Gloof's hooks, to be honest, they are quite on point. No team snowballing here, still an even match. Slight advantage for the Reapers. In terms of creeps, I don't know. I would like to see the creep score right now of both AD carries, but another battle going on. Marine, he didn't get his game going so far. I feel like if Marine hadn't given up these 2 kills on the top lane, well, the second was difficult because that was a nice gank by DNA, but the first was a bit too overextentious. But now Divider in a lot of trouble, and Handsome Benji then returning to the lantern of Q-Gloof. And we see the lane swap coming in as Q-Gloof and Joe make their way to the top turret. But Pulses and Nofor are also there to save the day. And Handsome Benji waiting for an engage in the river. But that bait is not working out for them. Now another nice hook, and again it's Zyra falling down. That's not the way to play this game. You have to be careful. If you're going up against the Thresh, you know he can hook, you know he can cage. And just straight running into him, that won't work. Marine, whereas in the mid lane he's having some trouble, but returning to safety by using his flash. And on the top lane, Joe and Q-Gloof are returning. I feel like Q-Gloof, he's the man right now. He's doing it. And also great job by Joe. Handsome Benji has to be careful as Divider and Domus are both in the river. Show Mac alone also there to back his team up. There's Q-Gloof once again looking for the hook on Pulses. His favorite target so far. And that's just the dodges have to be on point. Yeah, and Domus now coming in, but going out straight away. And once again it is Zyra falling here. A little bit of a feeding going on for GameplayDNA. So Pulses, his performance right now, definitely not on track. I hope he will find his strength again. And I hope that's gonna happen quickly. As the Reapers are pushing through the mid lane, taking another turret. Now 4,000 gold in advantage for them. Pushing onto the inner turret. All 5 of them. The HP are melting on the turret. And it even falls. Now Handsome Benji has to escape here. Even another grab here for Lanyok, also known as Joe, getting all the kills done. Yeah, and also an Infernal Drake coming up. There's no way in the world that GameplayDNA can really contest that one here. So uncontested, this one will fall. And how many kills are on that Caitlyn right now? She has to be pretty fat. At least 3 kills are on that Caitlyn, and that's exactly what you want. You want your AD carry to be as fat as possible. The thing is, the bot lane is going well for the Reapers, but Marine and Skinzor also have to get going. Skinzor is still quite mediocre, but Marine not having an impact at all. Pulsar's trying here to save his AD carry, even though the hit went through to Domus. He didn't die. And they're out there. LeBlanc pretty low. The Rift Herald and Q-Glove now missing one of his hooks. And there's the shutdown on Caitlyn finally. Because she was standing all alone, did not receive any help. And this might be some kind of turnaround point, but for now it's Lee Sin. Handsome Benji jumping in on Show Mac Alone. Getting the kill. I just love the name Show Mac Alone. That's just a nice one. And Skinzor grabbing out Pulsars here. With the help of Q-Glove. So a blue buff and the Rift Herald, that's what's on the plate for the Horizon Reapers. And Divider in some trouble here, going all alone against that fat Caitlyn. Gonna be difficult, and from the side, jumping in is Skinzor. But not quite able to get the kill here. And we have a 5k gold lead for the Reaper, 6 kills ahead. Also 4 turrets. That's a really dominant performance here, and going for another one. Skinzor taking some damage from that turret. I don't know if anybody could take it here, as also Jace and Q-Glove, they're not too tanky. Divider coming in from the top. And the 5th turret now falling, just one turret standing on the map. But the bot lane is pushing very well. Also the Rift Herald now spawning, so they're going for that inhibitor turret. And with the Lantern not quite able to return the shutdown on that Orianna finally happening, but the double kill coming in here on Joe. That Caitlyn is a huge problem. And how are you gonna deal with that? And another hook coming in here on Divider, and also he's falling. 9 seconds until Pulsars spawns again. Show Mac Alone, 18 seconds away from spawning. Is this already the end? We haven't even reached the 20th minute. Another hook hitting! Is this crazy? The bot lane from the Reapers absolutely crushing it all. It seems like 90% of the hooks just hit their target, and then that fat Caitlyn with her 8 kills! 8 kills on that Caitlyn! She's just standing in the back and is firing shots on everybody! That's just crazy. How are you gonna stop her? Let's take a look. How much resistance is here to AD damage? Not much. In terms of armor, I can't see that much going on here for GameplayDNA. But their composition is not too tanky. They have Irelia that can go a little bit tanky. Also Rek'Sai. But for now, all the damage goes straight through, and that's what we see all the time. The Horizon Reapers, they just have to be careful. They are holding the victory in their hands. They should just not throw it away. And with such a strong Caitlyn, you can definitely take the Baron here if you wanted to, if the vision is good enough to find GameplayDNA out of position, but they are not. And also Irelia retreating for now. Divider, Domus Pulsars getting ready, but that's exactly what I say. Look at that, so much damage, and also with the crits. And some Benji went away a little bit. He had to heal up again. But are they going for it now? Yes. Because that's exactly the moment. The other team are out of position, but it looks to be a bait. They are running away from the Baron. Not quite enough damage. I expected to really get it here. I expected Caitlyn to melt through that Baron. But I was a bit mistaken. Marine now pinging, please help me with that Baron, now we can engage it, and they're going for it now, but GameplayDNA, they're already on their way. Skinzor, Joe, Benji, all of them are here for the Reapers, but GameplayDNA not too far away. Irelia still defending, so if they could bait out a team fight right here, right now, it would be a 5 versus 4. If they just turn to the right now and grab LeBlanc and Rek'Sai in the jungle, that would be game. But they don't have vision in there, so Divider and Domus now coming in to secure this inhibitor turret here in the mid lane. Domus jumping in and out again, doing what a LeBlanc can do best. Also Marine now starting to deal a lot of damage to that turret, not quite able to get it. And Zyra didn't hit anything with that. And then coming in, and another inhibitor is going to fall in favor of the Reapers. The Reapers right now are tearing through GameplayDNA, making their way to the dragon that is alive right now. And there's nobody to contest this one. Looking at the gold lead, heavily favoring the Reapers. They're now returning, going for a little shopping session.
The cost of your life is one arrow. Pain is my gift.
And for now the game's slowing down a little bit as the Reapers have to return to the Summoner's Rift. Divider also being cautious not to be caught alone. It's just a question of time until the Baron will fall. Now with the new items, I might even want to try it. Nice traps also set up. Dome is jumping in here on Kugu. And now they're making their way to the top lane, as still the Baron is not what they want to take. Coming in from behind is Domus, running back to safety. And this was the last turret outside of GameplayDNA's base. And I don't know, but they have to give it their best to defend this inhibitor. Going up against this kind of a lead from the Reapers. They don't have any better shot, but they're just falling down to the damage of this fat Caitlyn. Another double kill coming in, and with 4 guys dead, I am sure that the Reapers are gonna close out this game in just a second, and there we go. GG, well played. The Reapers just tearing through GameplayDNA. Absolutely crazy. The Reapers, as I predicted them to win, but I didn't predict them to win that clearly. That was just a dominant performance, and talking about dominant, Dominic is back with me. So what is your opinion on that game?
See, that's what I kind of wanted to see. That's the kind of information that we get outside of this game. With GameplayDNA actually forfeiting this one, we wouldn't really know what to expect next up. So next up, with No Names facing off against Wonderstag, there's quite a big chance that the same thing's gonna actually happen. Wonderstag will actually be the ones to go all the way through the losers brackets to face off against Horizon Reapers to possibly have another evened out game right there.
Yeah, exactly. So we could see... yeah, we could see Wonderstag absolutely crushing Team No Names. Unfortunately, I see that too. But let's see, because Team No Names, they surprised us in Game 1. They had a great performance versus GameplayDNA. But just seeing that clear victory here for the Horizon Reapers against GameplayDNA, that really sets the hopes high for Wonderstag to come out of that victorious.
And also another thing, like when you're going for a Zyra, you know that she's just such a squishy champion. The same goes for a Janna possibly. First of all, as the Thresh, you want to be issuing the pressure. Basically, Zyra is all about trying to zone out the enemy bottom lane, but that's not been the case for the game right here completely. Thresh did not feel intimidated by that at all. First of all, what he's gone for was a hook, successful hook that guaranteed them the first blood, and it's gone downhill right there from that point on. 7 deaths overall for that Zyra, if I'm not mistaken, at the end of the game. She was not able to contribute at all. And overall, that's led to that kind of grim atmosphere in the team, I believe. Must have been slightly demotivating overall for them.
Yeah, does that go down as intentional feeding? Do we have to report this?
I mean, it's really hard. You, as a Zyra,
Yes.
you only have a flash. So when you use that flash, how the hell are you supposed to avoid all these abilities right there? And it's not only about the Thresh's hook. There are all the others that want to take you down on the enemy team. You've got the shockwave right there. You've got the absolute damage that you could see from Caitlyn, who's got just such a huge range.
That's where good positioning comes in. So if you use your flash and if you know you have to dodge all these abilities, you just have to take care of your positioning. You can't just run straight into your opponents or stay off guards, not behind your creeps. And I feel like that's something that Pulsos was not doing any well here. But also keep in mind that the weather in Lithuania right now is crazy, and maybe while Pulsos was playing, lightnings were going down like pretty close to him or something like that. So maybe he couldn't even concentrate on the game. So that's something we don't know. So please don't take my critique too seriously, as I obviously don't always have all information about everything. But that performance in that game, just seeing it objectively, wasn't the best.
Yeah, just hands down. I mean, it would be not so bad if Thresh was going for some godlike hooks or stuff like that, but every single time he was exposed, the hook that got them the first blood was very simple. There was an AD carry in front, right to the side of him, and he was left all alone. So the only thing that could have saved his life was either a quick flash out there that unfortunately he didn't go for, or he had burned a little bit earlier. I don't necessarily remember that, or his AD carry to sacrifice his life just to cover him up, and that never is an option. You as a support, you're always the one to take all the damage for your AD carry. Your responsibility is to keep him alive. The next up was we talked about Benji's Lee Sin and his performance on Rek'Sai on the previous game. I was sure that it's going to work out fine, and it did. An amazing hook on towards the AD carry, excuse me, not a hook, but a kick, and he kicked him into the support that got knocked up and killed. You were talking about maybe Caitlyn getting a double kill right there. It didn't end with a double kill, but it still was a great setup for a kill on a Zyra. It gave them a turret, and overall, in terms of the turrets, these guys were just completely dominant. And not only in this game, but also in the game against Wonderstag, they were the ones just taking the structures.
I can't quite remember, but did the Reapers lose like any turret at all? There was a moment where they had 6 turrets to 0, and I think they didn't even drop a turret.
Maybe one, but it doesn't even matter really. At that stage, the gold difference is way too big to be neglected by just taking the one turret down. And also, the one big thing, you were that they were about to end the game before the 20 minutes mark, and they didn't do that. But I'm still astonished that somebody was able to unleash the Rift Herald on the bottom lane turrets, and then it went all the way through and into the base and took one Nexus turret down. It's just frightening. I mean, when you have such a big advantage over your enemy, when you create such big pressure, when you have champions like a Thresh or a Lee Sin that can jump in and kick you out, or an Orianna that can land a successful shockwave, not only are you under-leveled to be able to deal with that Rift Herald, but also you're afraid to come up to him and deal the damage to him. And the Rift Herald can just demolish your turret so easily. With the initial headbutt, it takes down half a turret's HP. That's a lot.
Yeah, definitely. So that was an awesome game. But different from the games that we've seen before. So before that we had two very close games. Now the first dominant game of today. Maybe we are about to see another dominant game, talking about Team No Names against Wonderstag. But both of the teams lost their first game. So what are the changes that these two teams have to make for their personal playstyle?
First of all, No Names have to focus a little bit more on that game, because, yeah, I'm already mentioning for like the 10th time, but what they said themselves is that they didn't even think about the picks and bans so much. So right here, it's got to be a little bit less random to begin with. And other than that, I don't think it was so bad in the match against GameplayDNA, although since they are assuring us themselves that they can do better, then I'm definitely expecting them to do better. But once again, comes back the question, is better than the previous game going to be any kind of close to enough? Because Wonderstag, they had an extremely close matchup against Horizon Reapers, possibly with some even more comfort picks going the way of Horizon Reapers back there. And yeah, you could see how much of a stomp it was against GameplayDNA. So in my opinion, it's either going to be an easy 20 minutes game for Wonderstag, or maybe a little bit longer 30 minutes game to Wonderstag, but I'm not really taking into account an option that No Names are going to take it. Would be amazing if they could surprise us, but yeah, it's not so probable.